Welcome, and thank you for joining me. This presentation is called the Brotherhood of the Snake Part 2, and it takes some information from another video on this channel, but it adds a lot more points and a lot more content, and it cleans it up a lot too, which it needed, and it's going to piss a lot of people off. We'll start with a quote from Bill Cooper. It says, "History is replete with whispers of secret societies, accounts of elders of priests who guarded the forbidden knowledge of ancient peoples. Prominent men meeting in secret who directed the course of civilization are recorded in the writings of all people." End quote. The world has known and still knows many powerful secret societies. Nowadays, the most powerful of these sects are the sects of what we know as the modern Illuminati, a group formed ironically, or maybe not so ironically, on July 4th, 1776, when a man named Adam Weishaupt consolidated all of the secret societies like the Freemasons, the Skull and Bones, the Jesuits, the Rose and Cross, etc., all under one central authority, the Bavarian Illuminati. Out of all of these secret societies, even before the Illuminati, the oldest on record is known as the Brotherhood of the Snake, also called the Brotherhood of the Dragon, and it still exists under many different names. The Brotherhood of the Snake is devoted to guarding the secrets of the ages and to the recognition of Lucifer as the one and only true God. The secrets of these groups are thought to be so profound that only a chosen, well-educated few are able to understand and use them. These men use their special knowledge for the benefit of all mankind. At least that's what they claim. How are we to know, since their knowledge and actions have been kept secret? Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are diligent and who search, it's all there. Fortunately, some of it has become public knowledge. The greatest percentage is hidden in esoteric writings concealed by a language of symbology. In secret societies, there's always an exclusivity of membership, with the resultant importance attached to being or becoming a member. This is found in all human endeavors, even those which are not secret, such as football teams or country clubs. This exclusivity of membership is actually one of the secret society's most powerful weapons. There's also the use of signs, passwords, and other tools. These have always performed valuable functions in man's organizations everywhere. The stated reason, almost always different from the real reason for the society's existence, is important. It can be anything, but it is usually fraternal, and it is said to be existing for the good of the community. And it is found in all pressure groups wherever human beings congregate. The greater good. The comradeship is especially important. Sharing hardships or secrets has always been a special thrill to man. No one who has ever undergone the rigors of boot camp is ever likely to forget the special feeling of belonging and comradeship that was shared between the victims of the drill sergeant or company commander. Their world is shattered, destroyed, and a new one built, which they become a part of. And folks, this is where cult similarities begin to arise. It is an emotion born of initiation, a rebirth, if you will. A major recurring subject of infatuation throughout the teachings of all of these secret societies. Resurrection, rebirth. The most potent tool of any secret society is the ritual and myth surrounding initiation. You see, these special binding ceremonies have very deep meaning for the participants. Whether they actually understand the ceremony, and folks, briefly, I've been through all of these initiations, at least for the Freemasons. I had the noose tied on my neck. I wore the stupid things. It's embarrassing to admit. I had an old phone, a Motorola Razr, and I remember taking pictures in a reflection in this room, in a glass reflection. I was taking pictures, but I don't know whatever happened to those photos. I got to find those. I'd love to get them out. It's embarrassing, but I'd love to get it out. Anyways, I can speak on some of this stuff. I've been through it. I've been through the ceremonies. I've learned the passes. I've learned the signs. Anyway, Whether they actually understand the ceremony or the symbology involved or the true meaning is irrelevant. It's the specialness, the emotion, the knowledge that you are one of the few who have experienced this initiation and have been accepted by a band of people calling themselves the elite, the elect, the special, the superior race, in fact, as the Nazis, who were also a mystery school. They're all the same. Initiation, ladies and gentlemen, performs several functions which make up the heart and soul of any true society. You can form a secret society if you wish, but not without some kind of special initiation that separates that person from the rest of the world and gives them literally in their mind an emotional rebirth, a new chance with a brotherhood or a sisterhood who had pledged everlasting allegiance to that person. Like boot camp, the initiation into the armed forces, important aspects of human thought that are universally compelling, are merged to train and maintain the effort of a group of people to operate in a certain direction. Initiation bonds the members together in mysticism. Neophytes, these are new initiates. They gain knowledge of a secret, giving them special status. And the ancient meaning of a neophyte is planted anew or reborn. There it is again. A higher initiation is in reality a promotion, inspiring loyalty and the desire to move up to the next rung. The goals of the society are reinforced, causing the initiated to act towards those goals in everyday life. Most never realize what they're doing, but that brings about a change in the political and social action of the member. The change is always in the best interest of the goals of the leaders of the secret society. Initiation is a means of rewarding ambitious men who can be trusted. You will notice that the higher the degree of initiation, the fewer the members who possess that degree. This is not because the other members are not ambitious, but because a process of very careful selection is being conducted. A point is reached where no effort is good enough without a pull-up from a higher member. Most members never proceed beyond this point and never learn the real secret purposes of the group. Initiation is a way to determine who can and cannot be trusted, who believes in the mystery God and who doesn't. A method of deciding exactly who is to become an adept may be decided during initiation by asking the candidate to literally spit upon the Christian cross. And this happened to me. If the candidate refuses, the members congratulate him and tell him, "You've made the right choice, as a true adept would never do such a terrible thing." The new initiate might find it disconcerting, however, that he or she never advances any higher no matter how hard they work, study, participate, etc. If instead the candidate spits upon the cross and he or she has demonstrated a knowledge of one of the mysteries, and soon will find him or herself a candidate for the next higher level. You see, almost all of these require a belief in a higher being, but they never ever tell you who that being is. The leaders are called adepts, priests, the illumined ones. And I believe that when you know who's been through the ceremonies and rituals and initiations, you can very easily see that these people do indeed consider themselves adepts, illumined ones, or even priests. Just look at Harari and Schwab and some of the others. Knowledge or wisdom is their only God, through which man himself will become God. They call this apotheosis. Wisdom is represented and has been represented throughout the history of the world as the serpent, the snake, Satan, Lucifer. The snake and the dragon are both symbols of wisdom. Lucifer is the personification of the symbol. It was Lucifer who tempted Eve to entice Adam to eat of the tree of knowledge, and nothing to do, ladies and gentlemen, with an apple, and thus free man from the bonds of ignorance. And this is the only story one must know in order to understand at its core the most basic principle of this religion. The serpent, or ideology, or cult, because that's also what these people, you could consider these people into. They believe that the serpent is good. It represents knowledge, godlike knowledge. And this is where we've got "Don't Eat the Apple" video from. is this line of thinking. If you've seen that video yesterday on this channel. But it gets deeper though. We won't get too far into it, but there seems to be a time before the times of the writings of many of these stories when there was a time when the earth enjoyed two suns. They wrote about it in the Messianic texts. They called it the Golden Age, when there was no nighttime and vegetation and plants instantaneously grew without the need for man to toil. These two suns became a story of two sons, as in children. There was a good one and an evil one. One that was somehow, maybe through some astronomical disaster, was cast down from the sky, leaving only one sun to reign supreme. And this is and by the way, if you look into the electric universe theory in David Talbot, they talk about there being another sun that the earth rotated around. Saturn was the sun, and then it red gianted out. And then this other sun, our current sun, snatched us up into its orbit. We're what we would be one of the very few species to ever have survived two different life-giving suns. Continuing, a good one and an evil one. One that was somehow, maybe through some disaster, was cast down from the sky, leaving only one sun to reign supreme. And this is the reason we find all these stories of twin brothers in the Bible, Jacob and Esau, or in Egypt with Osiris and Set. And you can even find it in the Rome creation story with the twins Romulus and Remus. But we can go into that a lot more another time. But since we're talking about the sky, all the stories we hear about the heroes and the titans, Zeus, Saturn, all of the battles written about in ancient texts, all simply oral re-dramatizations of what these people witness in the ancient skies, are the stories from the current Bible as we know it, merely retellings and merely reorganizations of the beliefs and folk of these earlier times? Before you attack me, let's continue first. What I'm saying is that the first secret society, the ancient Brotherhood of the Snake, as stated, the first ancient society on earth, and it is this secret organization that maintains most of the control on this earth right now. This ancient cult existed during the time of early Christianity, when this resilient group of people calling themselves Christians started a movement like none other seen before it. This organic rise of this new belief system struck fear into the Roman Empire, with Caesar and his predecessors setting out to persecute, imprison, and even execute the followers of this new religion. However, as historians from that time have written, when the Roman Empire would execute one Christian, 10 more would rise up. And as if the timing were divine, this period of time sees a social and political whirlwind begin to take place in the Roman Empire. In fact, bringing Rome disturbingly close to the point of collapsing. Luckily for the Brotherhood, the one that worships Satan, the snake, luckily one of its members was able to put into action an ingenious plan. It's probably where the old saying, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em, came from. Because Brotherhood of the Snake initiate Emperor Constantine did just that. He arranged for the meeting of many high-ranking, powerful Christians, in which most, I'd imagine, were under the influence or control of the emperor in some way. In the least, they'd be indifferent to him, as anyone who would show active dissent against the emperor at that time would most definitely not be able to hold any sort of position of power and would probably have been killed. So Constantine was able to get them all together in a town called Nicaea. It was here that the Roman Empire decided to quit fighting against the Christians, but rather to trick them and infiltrate them and take them over this way instead. In fact, dear listeners, this is the same main method used today by the same group of people with regard to how they take over corporations. Through using their blood money to secure positions on the board of directors, or how they've done with the U.S. government or the federal law enforcement, intelligence services, or our healthcare system, etc., or through blackmail. They infiltrate. They're snakes, after all, folks. They're sneaky, slimy. They wiggle into positions and then appoint like-minded cult members into other influential positions until they absorb the whole damn thing. At this Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, Constantine was able to get all of the appropriate influencers from the new Catholic religion to agree on a more uniform version of Christianity. I suppose you could say they established dates like December 25th is Jesus' birthday and others. They also agreed upon which books would constitute the official Bible, or which books would be the official Gospels, or one could say then the official story of Christianity. And this is where the ages come into play, and by ages I mean the zodiac. The zodiac is a belt-shaped region of the sky that extends approximately 8 degrees north or south of the ecliptic, the apparent path of the sun across the celestial sphere over the course of the year. The paths of the moon and visible planets are within the belt of the zodiac, and the sun is currently in the sign Pisces, the fish. Now some say it's in Aquarius, or at least close. But it's common knowledge that the early Christians were known as little fishes. The apostles and Jesus were fishermen. Jesus fed a wedding with bread and fish. He could even walk on water, I suppose like a fish. One of the earliest known symbols of Jesus is that fish that you see on the bump on the back of the cars and stuff, a real basic stick figure fish. And of course, everyone knows that he was born somewhere around the year 1 AD. Now, depending on what calendar you're going by, but also no matter which ancient calendar you're going by, this year is thought to signal the beginning of the age of Pisces, the one we're currently in, supposedly. It's almost as Jesus has become some archetype of the Pisces. And then there's even a verse near the end of the New Testament where Jesus tells the apostles to go to town and follow the man with the water bucket, and to follow him into the house that he enters. The house that he enters. This is a direct connection to the sun moving into the house of Aquarius, the water bearer, the guy that's standing up there dumping out a bucket of water. It's almost as though they've managed to make Jesus a solar deity, just like the mystery school initiates are. They got the 12 apostles being the 12 signs. Of course, Constantine choosing December 25th as the birthday is very peculiar for Jesus' birthday, because this is a day of the year where the sun begins to rise higher in the sky after nearly slipping out of our line of sight the previous day. After slowly slipping further and further away each day until reaching its low point on the 24th, with the sun rising again on the 25th, and then each day getting closer and closer again until finally completing the yearly cycle, and it starts getting further away and further away again, and then reaches that low point on the 24th, and then on the 25th it is reborn again. And this isn't confined to Pisces. When we look at the Old Testament, the few thousand of years before and leading up to AD 1, the age of Pisces, we find hundreds of mentions of ram's horns, as in Aries, or bull or cows, as would be the case with Taurus. Many of these stories seem to go along with what age it was in during the time that it was written. Now, a peculiar thing then happens many centuries after Constantine's central consolidation. New texts are discovered. We can talk a little bit about the Gnostic texts. There's a whole bunch of them, and they've been found, but there's two of them I want to talk about: the Apocalypse of Adam and On the Origins of the Word. Those are the only two that I've had a chance to read. You should check them out, though, because they're very interesting, if you haven't already. In fact, I challenge you to ask yourself a question. If you read those, why are these books excluded from the Bible? It's because those books couldn't be allowed, because they would seemingly, at least in my opinion, would contradict many of the official stories that they now placed into the Bible. Ladies and gentlemen, none of this is to suggest that Jesus isn't real, or that Christianity is just a remanufactured story of a solar deity, even though it may look that way. It was 1700 years ago when Constantine merged the Roman Empire and Christianity and morphed the ever-weakening Roman Emperor into the Pope. It's a long time. A long time to hold the top spot in an organization and appoint other Brotherhood members up into powerful positions within the organization. By now, honestly, I'd imagine that their power over the Vatican is pretty much absolute, and it seems to look that way. By getting to choose the books, major dates, and other commonly accepted events associated with Christianity, effectively allow for these infiltrators to determine the official story of Christianity. It gives them a good foundation to start with, and then with control of all influential positions, they could begin a slow, steady, full infiltration until up is down and left is right, totally warping it all, confusing it all. Just look at what they're doing to our society and culture as we speak. The same people, the same method of operation, infiltration, confusion, corruption, every single time, with everything they've ever conquered over the millennia. This is how they do it. The Brotherhood of the Snake. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, a lot of credit to Bill Cooper in the beginning of this video. Thank you for watching.